Most people know that there are introverts and extroverts, but there are certain subclasses of personalities that many aren't well versed in. From finding happiness in what others think depressing to a constant internal battle. Here are 16 things only a true INFJ would understand. Number 16. Homebody. INFJ is a personality type defined by MBTI, aka the Myers Briggs type indicator. This process determines a person's identity regarding the way they grasp their surroundings and come to decisions. It was established by the mother-daughter duo Catherine Cook Briggs and Isabel Briggs Myers. The system is a series of questions a person answers which ultimately identify someone's personality using a combination of 8 factors: extroversion, introversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, judgment, and perception. There are 16 different types, of which INFJ is the rarest blend, as it only encompasses 1 to 3% of people. It stands for introversion, intuition, feeling, and judgment. Taking the first component into consideration, it isn't surprising that people with this personality prefer to stay at home rather than go out on the town. They need time to themselves to recuperate after being put in uncomfortable social situations, or even after everyday tasks like work or school. So going out drinking and partying is more of a stressful chore than an entertaining pastime. Number 15. All by myself. INFJs are known for being inside their heads most of the time, having more inner dialogue than what they express around other people. Because of their never-ending string of thoughts, it's easy for them to feel isolated, even when they're surrounded by friends. It may seem contradictory, but people who possess this personality type feel lonelier in a group than they do when they're actually alone. Since INFJs are within the lowest percentile of the 16 character varieties, they often sense that they're misunderstood. Extroverted people feed off those around them, gaining energy by social gatherings, but for INFJs, it's the opposite. It can be anxiety-causing, stress-inducing, and draining for not-so-social butterflies to have to participate in interactions like this. Number 14. Communication. Since people with this personality type are so introverted, it is surprising that they are experts in communications when they do open up. INFJs are intelligent, often book-read, and take a lot of time considering other people's feelings. Plus, they are said to be able to sense the emotions of those around them. So, by examining these factors, one can see how INFJs can speak effectively to individuals and large groups if they need to. In fact, there are many famous people with this personality type that everyone recognizes for their amazing speech-giving skills. Some of these renowned human beings include Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and Mother Teresa. In fact, Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech is one of the most memorable and moving orations of all time. Although it isn't set in stone, these remarkable people are often classified as INFJs. So even though they often prefer not to be outspoken, some of the recommended career paths for these unique folks are acting, marketing, teaching, and social working. Number 13. Organization. We've already discussed that INFJs have a constant chain of thoughts and an insane amount of inner dialogue. Because their brains are never at rest, it isn't shocking that they sometimes feel mentally jumbled. Due to the lack of organization within, it's important for them to maintain a harmonic atmosphere in their homes, at work, and school. Keeping a calm environment helps INFJs deal more effectively with the turmoil they face inside on a daily basis. It's not fun to process a million thoughts at once, meanwhile dealing with clutter around the house. So if your INFJ friend is coming over, be a pal and tidy up, Buttercup. Number 12. Intuitive. Considering it is the second word in the acronym for this personality type, it's not surprising that these unique people are very intuitive. Opposed to their detail-focused counterparts, INFJs are more abstract. They pay more attention to overall events than specific aspects. So rather than remembering the particulars of a conversation they had or precise interactions, they recall experiences by how they felt during them and from the impressions they left. INFJs are also known for reading between the lines. While most people pay attention to what is explicitly said or done to them, people with this personality trait recognize the meaning behind incidents or individuals' actions. Their intuition also plays into the fact that they trust their feelings more than what actually happened to them. INFJs have more faith in their perceptions than they do logic, thus making decisions based on instinct instead of rational. This reliance on intuition also determines their thought process regarding problem solving and often leads to eliminating ideas before attempting to follow through with them if they suspect a negative outcome. Number 11. Helping others. Although they can seem withdrawn during interactions with others, don't think that INFJs don't care or aren't listening. In fact, people with this personality type care a lot about the people that they come into contact with, especially if they're close to them. Their focus on those around them is a strong guiding factor in how they behave. Their main goal is usually to keep things running smoothly and make their friends and family happy. INFJs experience a lot of emotions that go along with their aspirations to help. They frequently believe they know how people are feeling, and although what they perceive isn't always correct, they generally think they recognize what someone needs. In fact, sometimes INFJs are so intent on keeping others content, they often forget about themselves. Number 10. How's the weather? One thing you should never do with an INFJ is initiate small talk. They care deeply about other people, but they're more interested in finding out significant relationships and having interesting conversations. This stands true for their romantic lives, bonds with family members, and associations with friends. Since these people are always deep in their thoughts and analyzing, observing and drawing conclusions, they desire more serious conversation. Due to this characteristic, INFJs dislike tribal interactions. Number 9. Circle of trust. We previously discussed INFJ's preferences of having small groups of friends, their goals of pleasing others, and their desires in creating deep relationships. However, don't make a mistake in thinking that INFJs are pushovers. If you mistreat them, they will retaliate, not in outbursts, but subtly by cutting you out of their lives. They have no problem deciding that someone is having a negative impact on them, and once they're fed up, they will cut all ties with you. It may seem contradictory since they are so caring, but everyone has a limit, and once they reach it, they're done for good. They'll lose interest in keeping contact with you, and they won't think much about a person who has done them wrong. So if you're close friends with an INFJ, try not to betray their trust because you might lose a wonderful, considerate companion. Number 8. Not open books. It's true that INFJs enjoy talking about other people's feelings, desires, and aspirations, but when it comes to discussing their own, they dislike being open and will often keep their emotions and thoughts to themselves. Although they fear vulnerably, with the right person, they will eventually uncover who they are more deeply. This characteristic goes along with an INFJ's introversion and feeling aspects. They care about what others think and are very sensitive to what people around them say and do. They want to be accepted and are frightened that they won't fit in, so it proves difficult for an INFJ to be an open book. If you're around someone with this personality, don't take offense to their opposition or self-discussion. INFJs need to feel they can trust you before processing their inner emotions. Number 7. Smile. People with the INFJ personality type don't sport smiles at all times. This deters people from talking to them because they believe they're angry or uninterested in conversation. However, this isn't true. It stems back to their constant train of thought and their disinterest in small talk. They don't want to appear fake, and nobody is happy 24/7, so don't view their lack of a grin as being rude. It's just honesty. Plus, since their minds envelop them, they may simply not be paying attention to their facial expressions. But this doesn't mean you shouldn't approach INFJs. They seek human interaction and are genuinely interested in getting to know people. Number 6. Love. INFJs are always searching for someone that they can form a real connection with. This counts for romantic relationships and friendships. But once they find a person they consider a soulmate, they fall in love deeply. An INFJ's entire world revolves around forming relationship ties with others and doing everything they can to ensure things work out. So it's no surprise that people with these traits tend to stay in love once they found a person who they think truly understands them. INFJs are extremely involved in everything they do, including being with their partners. They want to nurture them and their dreams, share their desires, and do whatever is within their power to keep their love afloat. This doesn't mean they'll stick around if they're treated badly, but they won't give up without trying their best. Number 5. Nonconformists. Because INFJs are always trying to find the deeper meaning behind everyday things and people, they generally don't find interest in matters that are considered trendy. This tends to be because most modern world pop culture topics aren't meaningful to people with this personality type. They won't care about staying up to date with the latest Kardashian news or celebrity posts on Twitter. They prefer to pursue things that are more in-depth. INFJs usually enjoy things like reading books, exploring different cultures, or discussing the meanings behind works of art. They care less about the little stuff and more about the grand scheme of life, so they don't blend in with the herd. Number 4. Questioning. INFJs are always silently questioning those around them. They use this tool to judge how people are feeling, what they're thinking about, and how they can help people. But this can backfire when they use it on themselves. People with this personality are always wondering how they can make themselves better. Are they good enough? Are they doing all they can for others? Are they working in the right field? Are they keeping up their relationships? INFJs are always concerned that they aren't reaching the highest standards they've set in their lives. Things can turn into self-sabotage. They set goals too high or expect to accomplish too much in a small amount of time, which often fails. You can't achieve the impossible. INFJs would benefit greatly by coming up with more reasonable courses of action and taking things one step at a time. This aspect also goes along with the fact that INFJs strive for perfection. Being a perfectionist isn't necessarily a bad thing, but can cause a lot of stress and anxiety if it's expected in everything a person does. INFJs should consider this when they're feeling overwhelmed at work, home, or with other people. Number 3. Want it all or nothing at all. Just like O-Town states in their 2001 hit, INFJs go full force with everything they do. They give it their all or they just won't participate. This trait has its roots in the same guiding factor that makes INFJs perfectionists, nonconformists, and caregivers. Once they've set their minds on something, INFJs will do whatever it takes to follow through. People with this personality type often think ahead to all possibilities anyway, so once they decide on a plan they think will succeed, there's no stopping them from accomplishing their goals. This doesn't only apply to their professional lives and aspirations, however, it also comes into play with their friendships and romantic pursuits. As we previously discussed, INFJs are loyal, supportive, and strive to do their best in every situation. Number 2. Sad songs. The slow, somber tunes about lost love and heartbreak aren't most people's go-to when it comes to daily music choices. However, INFJs have a unique appreciation for the sad songs that would bring most to tears. They find beauty in the gentle guitar, piano, and soft voices that are common with these wistful ballads. INFJs tend to stray from the upbeat pop music that most radio stations play because the topics discussed in them generally don't allow for more in-depth thinking. This isn't surprising and goes along with their interests in more intricate things. Number 1. Guilt. Unfortunately for INFJs, it is common for them to feel guilty about things a lot of people wouldn't. Small things affect them tremendously. Since they are so focused on being a good person and helping those around them, it hurts them if they haven't lived up to those expectations. This goes back to how INFJs always please others, so they forget to sometimes make themselves happy. If they've hurt somebody, they will do everything in their power to fix it. If they don't know how they've upset a person, they have extreme anxiety because they're not sure how to atone. Although it isn't a bad thing to be caring, being too much so can pose many challenges for INFJs. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.